Hi everyone. I just did my first take and I had the grossest cough squad ever. Like I think I'm getting a cold type of cough squad. Anyway, I picked up Animal Jam a while ago because there were some kids I knew who dug this game. It's sort of like National Geographic's answer to Club Penguin, where it's a massive multiplayer online role player game for little kids with an animal theme. And in the time it took me to like pick up the book and bring it over, the kids had already moved on and the fad was almost over. So I don't even know if this is still a thing, but since they're not digging it, if you know any youngsters who are playing Animal Jam online and they would like some free gems, well, here's a code for them to get some free gems. So have some fun with that. I'm interested in what is published for kids because I kind of like to know what kind of stories are being told for children these days. And I wanted to support a comic book shop. I don't think I'd buy more of this, but it's fun. I don't think this is going to be reaching My Little Pony levels of success anytime soon, where they were Hasbro was able to capture an adult audience with that. But National Geographic's making okay comics for kids that have some strengths and some weaknesses. So let's dive in. The first story is written and drawn by Fernando Ruiz, and Jungles of Jamma, art by Fernando Ruiz, written by Eric Esquivel. So, Fernando, I didn't dig this story too much, and I'll talk about that more, but generally I'm pretty happy with Fernando's art. He does a lot of interesting stuff with the scenery and the details. The characters have expressiveness, but I think my problem is less with Fernando Ruiz's drawing than with the characters' design. They are a little boxy, like they're being drawn after a geometric toy model. They occasionally express themselves well, but there are all as many scenes where they just look a little flat and the expression doesn't read well. And they also, some of the characters have this tendency to have this tribal tattoo thing going on to make them look more special and stand out from the regular animals. And I think this ends up adding too much extra little detail, like these dots floating above the eyes. Just have an eyebrow that they can express with. So, Cosmo and Fleck or something. Hold on, her name's in the back of the book. I have a hard time remembering new animal character names. So she's Peck, and she's an artist, guys, and she's hyperactive. She's talented, energetic, and happy. She loves all kinds of art. She hates sitting still. Her goal is to make Jamma as cheerful and peaceful as possible. In her voice, the world of Jamma is such a beautiful and fascinating place. You go, girl. We love art here on the number one Marmaduke fan show. All right. So, gosh, I forgot her name already. Peck? Peck. So Peck and Cosmo are going into a cave. And like good little communists, when they find these jewels, all they can imagine is how wonderful it would be to share all of this bounty with the people of Jamma and decorate the forests with these gems. So, all right, it's sort of like Smurfs, where there's sort of this creepy kids utopia communist vibe to everything. And then they go deeper and deeper into the mines. And again, we're seeing Fernando Ruiz's strength here, I think, in showing three-dimensional space, foreground, middle ground, background, adding just enough detail to suggest the texture of wood, to suggest the texture of rock without going crazy. This could still be drawn pretty quickly, but it looks pretty cool. And then the phantoms, which are the enemy of the game, I think, show up and give chase. And the minecart flies off and crashes, and just before they get into trouble, the other main characters arrive. I hate this monkey. No. No. He's just got like this dead-eyed stare saying, "Watch out for the phantoms." And you see more of the tribal tattoo stuff, right? Stripe, 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 loopy doopy, stripe, 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 loopy doopy, dot, 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 chain, dot, dot, dot. They're a little overdone, I think. This wouldn't work in a kid's cartoon because there'd be too much. There's too much extra niggling detail to animate. I guess you can get away with a little bit more detail in comics though, because you don't have to animate it, 30 frames per second. And then this is the weird bit. So the tiger tells him that friends are here to help, and the bats told us you were in danger. And then the two of them look at each other sheepishly and talk about how they forgot about teamwork. Like this was supposed to be the moral of the story. Was the moral of the story that they were greedy over the gems and they forgot to work together? Nothing set this up. It's like they just at the end said, "Oh, I guess we learned a lesson." Okay, I guess you learned a lesson. And then The Jungles of Jamma is a second story and sets up with the rabbits being chased by the phantoms. And then Greely shows up. I know Greely stuck in my mind a little bit better because he's got this sort of tough guy attitude to him. Here we go, Greely. And for some reason in this character art, his face is a lot more exaggerated and over the top. Skills, stealth, observation, knowledge. Personality, mysterious, quiet, terse, likes solitude, dislikes parties. Weaknesses, doesn't trust others. Goals, learn everything possible about the Dark Phantoms. He's prepared for war, guys. He understands the nature of existential evil. He wants to control those borders and keep those phantoms who don't want to assimilate into Jamma culture the heck out of his woods. Inner voice, the only one who will never let me down is me. An individualist. How about that? All right, so our boy Greely is given chase to the phantoms, and then the bunnies celebrate and he gets terse with them. So I like this. They're kind of communicating who he is based on their reactions to him and him like just being blunt to them. He never smiles. He just sort of says, never let up. Constant vigilance. He's a Mad-Eye Moody sort of character from Harry Potter. This was a little weird though that they go right from happy to just like that. There are a few little moments like that where it feels like something's missing. Yeah, something's missing. The Jamma is a happy, fun world, except for these amputees from the horrible war with the phantoms. That or the artist just forgot where the cutoff point is, or the colorist missed it. So this little tiger kid is saying, "Pretty awesome, right?" And the panda says, "Geez, what kind of rice?" The tiger says, "Huh? At your wedding, when you and Greely get married to each other, what kind of rice should we throw?" What? Black person reaction, Jeff? That is one sick and very problematic burn, Panda Kid. Very homophobic. So, the Tiger Kid, he's not just any fan of Greely. He is Greely's #1 fan. I feel you, Tiger Kid. I know what it is to be a #1 fan and not have Senpai Zach, Greely, notice you. But later, the Phantoms are Phantoms. Where did I get? Oh, Phantom's a Pokemon. Good grief. I don't know all the new Pokemon, but it's like they've subconsciously entered my mind sometimes from drawing them with kids. I don't know. So the Phantoms look around and the kid's broken a twig, and they show this with an editorial box when they could have shown him stepping on it. Here's one of the worst expressions, I think, where the boxy design doesn't work, and it doesn't really work well as a worried expression. He's just sort of gaping. And Greely is annoyed at the kid for interrupting him and causing all this trouble. He kind of gives him a spiel about, you can't rely on anybody, so get out of here. So the Tiger Kid goes and he finds the other alphas, these main characters. And this monkey just skeeves me the heck out in every pic I see of him. And the team shows up to save the day, and Greely learns that it's good to have friends be there to help you out. So he's always a little exaggerated. It's a geometric style. So this looks okay where he's just got a tiny smile on, even though it's kind of cartoonily exaggerated. The frown doesn't work. I think we lose, his face is so flattened, we lose the idea with his nose becoming his jaw, and the kind of happy little smile gets lost. And here he just looks like he's nervous, or I don't know, like Greely's about to eat him or something. So this was an okay little story. I could imagine it as a kid's cartoon, but they need to improve the character design and simplify. They're trying to make the main characters stand out from the average little rabbits by giving them a lot of little extra details. What will make the main characters stand out is usually their shape. So Panda Girl's probably the best, and Peck the Rabbit's probably best because she's got those nice rabbit ears and a nice little girly haircut. And Panda Girl's got this little Chinese haircut. So they kind of stand out. Oh my gosh. Die! And then I found One of the reasons I remembered I had this was Ethan Van Sciver visited Dynamite Studios, and they talked about some of the comics that they've been doing. So I love the look of this. I mean, Grumpy Cat's kind of a dead meme at this point, and Garfield, people make fun of Garfield with sort of these nihilist jokes about how ridiculous Garfield is, but something about this feels right, even though she's drawn in a different style than Jim Davis's style. She feels like she fits into this world. She feels like a female cat character. They've got the charm of the original expression down, I think, and I feel like she could work in Garfield-y humor. They're doing a Fruit Ninja comic, guys. All right. No. But this one's kind of cool, kind of a edgy, sketchy style. I think they lost the leg a little bit. Like, they sketched it out too fast and then put the big knee pad over it, and the thigh ends up kind of not making much sense in space. But okay. And yeah, another little, they're doing a bit on the Mona Lisa. She looks good in these, but then I looked at this art, and it's not the same artist as the covers. It's sort of this more grungy, ugly, funky style. It reminds me of the Get Fuzzy comic strip. I've never liked the art style of the Get Fuzzy comic strip. And then there's yet another artist down there. They're doing Betty Boop comics. Yeah, kind of a 1930s vibe. This looks sick. Street Fighter art book. I probably played like 10 hours of Street Fighter in my entire life, and I'm salivating for this hardcover art book. If you haven't already, go check out on Twitter Video Game Art and Tidbits. It's one of the best Twitters I've ever seen. He's just a guy who loves video game art and collects bunches of it. He collects old magazines. He just shares scans of all this stuff online. It's like the best non-political, let's just look at some fun video game art guy's Twitter I've ever seen, and I hope he never stops doing it. What a fabulous Twitter. And then plumbing side of a plumber van superhero for this con. It's our boy Zach. He's got his 8-bit shades and his Sunny D. Oh, I keep meaning to do a series called Comic Cover Critique. What I figured I'd do is I would do it based on the digital comics, so I wouldn't be fumbling around trying to do the drawing. But then later I would post a vid of me drawing for people who are interested in that process, because I actually figure out some of this stuff by drawing it for myself. So let's just do this real quick. So this one's from Fernando Ruiz. Cover B is Tony Felices, and I vastly prefer cover A. Again, we're seeing Fernando's strength for conveying like the background, but then also making it abstract. So this is like a big abstract rock bridge that curves this way, and it implies, like the chase is on, she's running this way. The bat's a little weird, like mostly things are paid attention to help keep your eye contained, so her ears point down and her tail points up. She's a great center of interest, and the bridge gives it some motion. But this bat, if you look down here, actually just kind of pointing off into nowhere. And Pete Pantazis has noticed that and kind of fixed it by using this shadow to kind of change this from an arrow pointing off into nothingness to kind of carrying the idea of the bat back into the rock and bringing it back. So that was a great little bit of the two of them working together. And then there's a lot of chaos with the phantoms chasing her. So it's kind of like messy all over the place back there. But then when you push forward, it resolves into this great center of interest. I mostly look at Peck when I look at this, and then I guess he just adds a little extra something happening up there. I don't look at him quite as much. So this is a composition where I mostly stay right here on the money shot. This one, not nearly as much going on. It doesn't have this strong bridge shape giving us a sense of motion. It's just sort of an ambiguous snow scene. We've got two penguins where their motion is shown with a single line and Greeley up above them, and then just like a couple birds and a bear floating behind it. So the movement in this is back and forth, kind of up here in craziness, forward swing, and then a really strong drawing of the rabbit right here. This is just sort of like it's a blobby circle composition. So 100%. If I had to collect a cover, or if I was just making a snap judgment, this is the cover I would pick up, and this ended up being the cover I picked up, but I didn't even see cover B at my comic book store. So yeah, fun. If you got some kids into Animal Jam, this might encourage them to read about Animal Jam a bit. Except for all that commie propaganda. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Hi everyone. Number one. That is the worst Cop Squad ever. Oh man, I'm not saving that.